So we just got a huge breaking news announcement and a surprise late night video that we're going to talk about one of the biggest franchises in gaming period, known as Call of Duty, just being confirmed to come to the Nintendo Switch for the next 10 years. Amongst all of the fighting back and forth between Sony and Microsoft surrounding the Activision Blizzard acquisition set to take place, and we have to go over Phil Spencer's exact comments and break down and discuss what this really means for the future of the Nintendo Switch platform as a whole right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today. And make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now I'm relaxing, getting ready to go to bed, and I'm surprised scrolling through Twitter and see Phil Spencer going out and making surprise tweets, making claims that yes, Call of Duty is now committed to be on the Nintendo Switch platform for the next 10 years. And clearly we know that as we get closer to this Activision Blizzard merger date that is really set for June of 2023 in terms of a closing date. Granted, with mergers this big, that is all set to change, and there are tons of investigations from multiple federal organizations looking into this thing on whether or not it's anti-consumer, and Sony is definitely trying to make a case that it is, because they see this as the biggest blow to their bottom line and their revenue that they pull in with their giant PlayStation brand that we all know and love. But as the scrutiny and more eyeballs look into this exact merger and what it really means for end consumers at the end of the day, Phil Spencer and team at Microsoft have been going out of their way to make a lot of comments suggesting that this is ultimately going to be beneficial for the players at the end of the day, and they just purely want Call of Duty on as many screens and monitors as possible, whereas Sony is definitely spinning this more in their direction around making a case that a franchise this big cannot be owned by a direct competitor, and they will ultimately become some form of a gaming monopoly if Microsoft does secure the franchise. And we first saw rumors and reports that Microsoft already committed to Sony that they had a 10-year deal on the table to commit to still selling it for the PlayStation brand for at least that amount of time. They won't commit to forever, but 10 years was the original rumor that we saw going around. Then we saw that confirmed by Phil Spencer, and now tonight at this point in time we have a random tweet from Phil that we have to read through together and break down what it really means. As you can see, the following posted up from Phil Spencer's Twitter directly that says Microsoft has entered into a 10-year commitment to bring Call of Duty to @Nintendo following the merger of Microsoft and Activision Blizzard King. Microsoft is committed to helping bring more gamers to more people however they choose to play. And in a follow-up tweet, he also notes that I am also pleased to confirm that Microsoft has committed to continue to offer Call of Duty on Steam simultaneously to Xbox after we have closed the merger with Activision Blizzard King. Now, to then reference a VGC article that types up some additional details around the story, you have the following. The last Call of Duty game released on a Nintendo system was the Wii U version of Call of Duty Ghosts, which was released in 2013 and allowed players to use a Wii remote to aim with motion controls. Spencer did not state in which year he expected the first Microsoft published Call of Duty to appear on a Nintendo platform. Spencer also spoke to the Washington Post about the commitment and was asked about the potential time frame for Call of Duty to return to Nintendo. Referring to the June 2023 date the merger is supposed to close, assuming it isn't blocked by regulators, Spencer replied, "You can imagine if the deal is closed on that date, starting to do development work to make that happen would likely take a little bit of time. Once we get into the rhythm of this, our plan would be that when a Call of Duty game launches on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, that it would also be available on Nintendo at the same time." When asked if the Switch would be able to handle Call of Duty, Spencer cited Microsoft's multi-platform title Minecraft as an example of how such generation-spanning projects could work. We would do this with Minecraft as well, where we would do specific work to make the game run well on Nintendo Switch and their silicon and support their platform completely, he explained. We do the same when we ship on PlayStation 5. Minecraft and Call of Duty are different games, but from how you get games onto Nintendo, how you run a development team that is targeting multiple platforms, that's experience we have. So listen, this is obviously massive news for Nintendo and the Switch platform at the end of the day, and while we have no official confirmation from Nintendo themselves around receiving or entertaining the offer, why would you not when you have one of the biggest gaming franchises in history period with a free-to-play option such as Warzone 2 that's out right now? Why would you not want to get that onto your platform in some kind of playable state when you have 111 plus million active Switch users, all with consoles in their hands right now? Many Call of Duty players probably double dipping, such as myself, where I own a PS5, Series X, and a Switch. They may want to have the option to play Call of Duty on the go mobilely in handheld mode, and that could truly be a game changer. Now, the technical prowess it will take to pull that off on something like a Tegra X1, well, I think that remains to be seen, and that ship may honestly sail, because I do believe we will have more powerful Nintendo hardware at the time this merger is fully closed and they actually start to develop plans to bring the brand Call of Duty to the Switch. But having this kind of commitment from Microsoft as a whole is huge. What will they do after the 10-year agreement expires? Who knows, but it's literally almost been that long since we've even seen any kind of acknowledgement or effort for Call of Duty to be developed for a Nintendo platform, and I definitely think that Microsoft's broader strategy here is play our games wherever and however you want, and we will take a cut of the revenue on all platforms, and that is definitely where they are staking their long-term game plan for. And they're going to incentivize a lot of people to play on their direct platform by having things like Game Pass that I believe they would sell to Nintendo as well if Nintendo would allow it. But you'd know that there is going to be a lot of behind the scenes checks and who gets what amount of revenue. That all comes down to the heads of these companies and their CFOs and their business analysts to actually review if that makes financial sense for them to come to an agreement on, and maybe have some kind of limited form of Game Pass on Nintendo. I could see that in the far distant future if Game Pass really does become the quote unquote Netflix of games, but we really won't know until this gets further down the road. And also, big asterisks with this entire story, keep in mind that the merger is not closed yet, and there could indeed be regulators that do just block this deal as a whole. Although it sounds like it is going in Microsoft's favor, there's also multiple rumors of deep dive investigations that could hit this thing, and if they really do truly decide that it is anti-consumer at the end of the day, this may not come to fruition. But from the outside looking in so far, and from a business perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense to throw a big brand like Call of Duty onto one of the most successful gaming consoles of all time by time it finishes its life cycle. And whether we get a revision, a pro model, or just the true Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever is next anytime soon, having this big commitment spoken directly from Phil Spencer himself, claiming that Call of Duty will be coming to Nintendo Switch and whatever future platforms they have for the next 10 years after the deal closes, is huge news in my personal opinion. I want to hear from you guys on this particular story, how you feel about this surprise announcement late at night, Phil Spencer tweeting this out of the blue. Do you think it makes a lot of sense for Nintendo to officially confirm the deal and kind of back the merger? Because clearly Microsoft is trying to kind of get companies who are outside of this merger conversation with Sony and them directly competing to chime in and say, yes, we would like this to happen, and this will be pro-consumer, not anti-consumer. And do you think that that is really the play here? Do you think that this ultimately resonates very much with the Switch fan base? I definitely think there's a lot of overlap and a lot of people that would pick this up, especially free-to-play Warzone 2 and future Modern Warfare, or whatever the next games are called in the next few years. Like, I definitely think there's a market for that, but do you feel like that personally on the Switch, or do you think that it wouldn't have near the user base? And bonus question, how do you think they pull this off from a development perspective if we are still in this hybrid form factor with chips like the Tegra X1 today, or even a more powerful one? Do you think that Microsoft has the ability to really make a game with so many players connected in at the same time and still have it run all smooth and really be a good end user experience at the end of the day? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around this topic. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.